What's up, everyone? Welcome to Gravity Train, the podcast dedicated to helping you become resilient against all the forces that pull you down. I'm here with my dad.
Yeah, I'm Kleber and I'm the ultra running coach with Gravity Train, and I'm here to help you to understand the ins and outs of the business of running, the long distance, which is like something not everybody can get a grasp out of it.
Yeah. So today I figured we'd do a podcast a little bit differently, where we wouldn't talk about like mindset, like how to set yourself up for a positive mindset or habits, or even pain, like how do you manage pain. My dad over the weekend or last weekend I think it was, he was in Spain and he did a ultra marathon that up until now has been his most difficult one. And so it was a 50K, which is around 30 miles, but with a 20,000 feet elevation gain. The max time to finish the race is 19 hours nonstop. And my dad was able to finish within 18 hours and a half. And there was 150 runners, and my dad there was 150 that started, and only 100 of them finished. And my dad was one of the top 100 that finished, and so a 33% dropout rate. My dad, if you guys don't know, my dad's 60 or almost 60. I think he turned 60 this year. Turned 60 this year. And, and this is a feat. It's not something that you can just go out and do. And so I figured we'd talk a little bit today about your experience and your training. I trained with you a little bit in Japan when we met, and so maybe we can talk about like how you go about thinking, because you've been training for months to get ready for this. Maybe talk a little bit about why you chose this race, how long you trained before you got to the race, and what the program looked like.
All right, everyone. So first, I'm going to kind of adjust a little bit of the information that Bruno gave because
Okay.
we every mile counts here, all right? Every mile. So this is like a Marbella Epic Trail Run. So that was in Marbella, uh, Spain. It's on the coast, pretty close from Malaga. I would say 30 minutes from Malaga. So this was a 66K actually race with 5,000 meters, which is about 20,000 feet elevation gain. This race. I mean, I ran longer races before, like 100 miles, like more than 100 miles, 172 miles actually, with 8,000 meters, which was 24,000 feet. So this was actually 16,000 feet elevation gain. But because of the short distance, I mean, the grade was pretty nasty in this one. And the DNF for this kind of race is huge. As you can see, it was like 151 people started, only 101 finished. So I was the 99 number, which for me at my age was a big feat. I mean, I was really grateful to finish. So, but here really not talking about me, but for someone that really thinking about taking a race of this magnitude, what should be the kind of a preparation before the race, before you even sign up for a race like this. You know, it's a long distance. It's a lot of elevation gain, and you should be like a mental fit uh, to begin with, because a training like this is not about speed. It's about non-stop running. Because the people that go for the speed, most of the people, even like professionals, they have a strategy. And my strategy was slow at the beginning and then speed up a little bit after halfway. But I was trying actually to control my heart rate. So that was my main strategy. At the beginning of the race started at 5 a.m. in the morning, and you had it was 19 hours to complete. So I was pretty close in the hotel, pretty close from the race. But let me talk a little bit more about the mental approach. Uh, when you're gonna train for something like this, you're gonna be ready for the pain. Pain is gonna be your friend all the time. Be comfortable with the pain because that's what you're gonna feel all along. So before the race, my training, my longest run was 7 hours, right? And I usually trained for specifics for a race like this. Any ultra running, at the beginning, you're gonna train your basics, your cardio. You're gonna train for maintain your body. But the last 4 months is when you start really getting specific to the race. Meaning you're gonna really start looking for like this one, a very rocky terrain, a lot of climbing, a lot of descents where you're gonna destroy your quads, you're gonna destroy your hips when you're kind of descending, and you're gonna have a lot of your calves. Luckily, because I was well prepared, I didn't have any cramps, which was amazing. Not having any cramps, that was a reflection of the good training that was done. So the mental training, the physical training, this is incredibly important. Corta aqui, só para mim pegar um fôlego e para mim dar uma olhadinha aqui no.
Beleza.
Certo?
Ai, caramba.
Ok, eu vou falar mais um pouquinho aqui do race. Okay, let's go there.
Okay.
And of course, at the beginning of the race, for me at least, and I would say that people should have start thinking about this more often. Don't start too fast. And I saw most of the people in this race actually were like 30, 35, 40 years old. So I was among the oldest people there. I saw some people of 70, 65 years old there. But the beginning of the race, I mean, for me, is always hard. I need to always warm up. I mean, I start really slow. And I believe I had like a 10, after the first small climb, I looked behind. I was one of the very last ones. I mean, I probably had like 10, 15 people behind me. And said, fuck. I'm just gonna do my race. I'm not gonna, because a lot of people passed me. And I said, okay, I'm gonna do my race. And that's what you should do when you do a race like this. Because this is not speed race. This is patience. This is, you know that you're going to be hours and hours and hours. And I knew that I would be like probably 17, 18 hours out there. I just knew it. So I put my strategy and kept going. So first aid station, I mean, this is another thing that you got to think about this. I mean, I was like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes close to the cutoff on almost every aid station. So one of the aid station was actually an hour ahead. That was great because gave me a little bit of slack, and that was past. When I got to the final aid station, I got a little bit of slack because I knew I would need it. But then I start passing a few people down the road. I saw some kids, 30, 35 years old. They were all like wrapped on those paper blankets, sweating, they were done. A lot of people start to getting done. And I probably halfway, I saw like a couple of people just passing me. But after that, nobody else passed me, right? And I kept, and then on the aid stations, I would people sitting there. But my strategy was, don't stop, Kleber. Stop the minimum you can just to reload. Don't sit and keep going. So that's what I did. My average stop in aid stations was like 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes, just enough to the people would get like load or grab something that I'll keep going. So, and those were precious time to finish a race like this.
So let me ask you this. So do you think your ability to properly strategize came from your prior experience? Like, because you've done plenty of these races now. So now you know like what your limit is. Or did you just have this plan and then you stuck to your plan perfectly?
That was absolutely experience from previous races because I got DNFs based on my long stops on aid stations. But I just gotta swallow the pain because I mean it was terrible because when you got there, I mean I knew I couldn't stop, but I was in pain, I was tired, but I can't stop, I won't finish this race. I just gotta keep moving, keep moving. Then the mental thing, and I thank God for allowing me to be there and start to kind of enjoying and talking to myself. I can do this. Like I'm feeling good. Okay, one more step. And I remember thinking about this, and that was, I mean, it's surreal, man.
What was the hardest part? Was it starting? Was it when it was like late at night because you had to, because it was it 18 hours, so you ran through the night, right?
Yeah, I started at night. I saw the sunrise. I saw the sunset. Then I arrived almost like was 18 hours and 20 minutes. That's what I did. Actually, the official was 18 hours and 14 or 17 because they stopped like the electronic thing a little bit before. But 18 hours and 20 minutes. But the hardest part for me was like the beginning, and then before the last descent, the last climb, after the last aid station, you had like 6 hours to finish. And the worst climbing was still to come. And then I actually had the sweepers behind me, like the guys that actually, okay, they were starting to collect the flags, the markers on the track, right, on the trail. So there were like 4 guys. They were like behind me. I believe that actually helped me because they were right behind me. Nobody else was after me at that point. But then I passed one guy, then I passed another guy, and they ended up being behind
So they were
the
like,
last 6 hours.
so it was basically like Pac-Man, just trying. They're like, you can't get bitten by Pac-Man. So you're like,
This is it. Yeah, this is it. I mean, and then like kind of, oh man, and they actually gave me like I didn't have like a salt, like a pills, and I was pushing. I didn't stop. I didn't stop. Didn't stop. Like pace, and remembering all the training, all the way you're gonna position your sticks, and then it was just surreal, those climbs. The last climb was the worst. I mean, I really thought for a moment that I wouldn't do it, but I mean, it was uh, just willpower that made me go through that last climb. I mean, the ridges. The trail was spectacular. I highly recommend someone to do this trail. And actually, this was one of the highest finishers percentage, because I was looking like the previous years. I mean, they had like 150 only, where only 60 or 70 people finished. So
wow.
this is over 50% DNF. I mean, this is insane. I never participate in a race with this rate of DNF before, you know. So I was extremely happy with that. Oh well, the other thing is like, of course, you gotta take. I mean, do you have any other question about this, Bruno? Otherwise, I can keep going for the next topic on this.
Well, I wanted to know, like, how did you train? Like, what was your, how many months beforehand were you training? What was your longest run? I think you said 7 hours. So obviously you didn't do any 18-hour practice runs,
Yeah,
you know?
I did other races because when I plan my year, I plan with several races, and then I have my A race, my B race, my C race. This was my A race, my last race for my running training year, right? So I
So
did a
even
race in Brazil.
though
I
it
did a
wasn't
race.
February, so even though it wasn't February, you were thinking about this already last year.
Yeah, oh yeah. I signed up for this race probably 8, 10 months earlier, so I knew what I was doing. And when I choose my races, I choose like accordingly, so progressively
Hmm.
towards the end, the easier races at the beginning of my program, and then try to do races accordingly to the phase of the training. So this is also important when you put together a plan. And you can use these races like fast-paced races, even if this race was not going to be. I mean, part of the training where you're training like a VO2 max, you wanna have that kind of race that you're gonna do some explosion. And of course, I was doing a lot of climbing all the time, every opportunity that I had. Like I did this race in US, was like a 50 mile, the UTMB race. Then I did another one in Brazil, the Chapada Diamantina, that was an 80K, also a 50 miles, right, race, which more elevation. So it was something that I started, okay, let's raise the bar here, let's raise the bar here, let's raise the bar a little more, right?
So you didn't just go like, all right, I'm gonna do this one in February, and then like you're gonna train. You go, okay, I have this big one in February, but before I do that, I need to challenge myself enough times and have enough experience. So when I go there, I have, I have like kind of like a bucket of mistakes that I can refer back to and be like, okay, well, I can't make any of these mistakes, right? It's kind of like doing jujitsu and thinking like I'm gonna go win worlds, but then you never do any local tournaments. It's like you learn a lot of lessons by doing smaller events. And then eventually you get to the big one and you go, okay, I have so much information now that I'm not going to make these mistakes because mistakes are inevitable, right?
Absolutely. It's not like you cannot, I mean, you can use races from past years as an experience, but doesn't really count because I mean, it seems like you forget what that felt like,
Huh?
those races. So you gotta have that feeling fresh in your mind. You gotta have the feeling of running on loose stones, using the poles, like descending. You gotta feel your body. You gotta feel your mind. You gotta feed all those feelings, those muscles with the feeling that you will ultimately have in this race.
They say that and you probably heard this too, but they say in jiu-jitsu, it's like you're on a campaign, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. You're active. You're on the scene. You can't just rely on like, oh, I competed 2 years ago. I'm sure I'll do fine.
No, you forget. I mean, even I believe your reflexes. This is important, especially for me that I'm an older guy. I gotta keep that in check. Otherwise, another thing that was amazing, I didn't trip once. I mean, this was like because I always trip, like I fell, like trips or I don't fall, but sometimes I fall in every race. I mean, this is something for being hours out there. You get tired, your legs get heavy, and you trip. Sometimes you trip in your own foot or rocks or this and that. But I didn't trip once. I was alert. I was focused. I mean, the whole time. And this was freaking amazing, Like when you go for a race like this, every single detail counts. Like I have my poles. I started with a cheaper poles, but I end up getting like my carbon poles. So they're expensive. Like they're like $200. They're freaking expensive. And I broke one last year in a race, like in a descent. The thing just broke. So I got this one. So it's important. Less weight, that helps you to go further. You want to eliminate any unnecessary weight.
Grams make a big difference, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing that was a big factor was the fueling. All right, this is big. This is huge. Train fueling. I mean, people sometimes don't take that very seriously. I mean, for short races doesn't matter, but when you're in a race like this, you want to make sure that you don't want to get sick in there. And I got sick before in other races. This is terrible, terrible. I mean, you poop, you do. I mean, it's like you're throwing up, either because you didn't feed well, you didn't drink, the hydration. It's I did everything right.
So how did you
Even
feel? So what was the fueling? Did you do? Was it like a carb loading? Because I know you've talked about carb loading before. Like, how do you fuel before and during and after?
yeah. So before, I mean, the last week, I mean, I was like eating spaghetti. I was really loading carbs, a lot of spaghetti, rice, bread, anything I could put my hands on, I would do it because I knew that I would be burning, especially because of the speed and the length of the race. I didn't want to deplete my muscles, so the carbs would be the first thing my body would feed off. So especially because it is slow, I try to keep my heart rate at 140, 150, 130 something. So I was right there. Of course, it would go up every once in a while on those climbs. But fueling, I was like at 85, 90% of my fuel was gels, which is not many people can do it. But this is part of the training. Your gut, you train your gut to absorb that much sugar. You know, there's no other way. You train and you don't change. You don't try anything different on the race day. If you train with a certain kind of gel, you stick with that no matter what.
Hmm.
So I was with gel. I would get to the aid stations. Of course, they had like some, I mean, chips. They had like some peanut butter and bread. They had fruits, watermelon. Uh, so I would grab just to kind of a change a little bit, but still 85, 9% of my fuel was gels. And I had a lot of water my on my backpack, and I had like the two, like the how you call those things here in front, right?
Water bottles in the
The
front.
water bottles in the front with electrolytes. So I drink a lot more water than electrolytes.
What's the typical fuel when people run if it's not gel?
It's usually gel, but people may take a sandwich. I mean, the other things, and but for some people, because they don't train, they get sick too fast.
I would imagine like that to digest something while you're running isn't probably good, so you probably want to have liquids with carbs in it, right?
Yeah, especially after many hours doing that. But the gel is great because it's immediate
Yeah.
feel. Minutes after you have that, you're and I did every 30 minutes, 30, 35, 40 minutes, 30, 30 minutes.
So you
So I
had like
would
what, 100 packs on you?
was a lot. Well, if you do the math, 18 hours times two, it's about 30. I'm sure of course, when I would get to the aid station, I would skip the gel, but
Yeah.
I had at least 25 shells
Yeah, it's a
through the
lot.
race, man. It's
And then what did you eat after? Is there something specific like you don't want to eat something heavy or it's like whatever?
I can't eat much after the race. I actually did the mistake because I was on the last to get there. They had food at the end of the race, and then I ended up eating like onions and tomatoes. A
Yeah.
salad. I couldn't eat anything heavy. So after I ate that, like when I went back to the hotel, I was trying to throw up because it didn't sit well on my stomach. But I didn't have anything on my stomach, you know. Yeah, it was just the Baileys. So it was kind of a terrible,
Hmm.
on that. Um, But I mean, in the short, I mean, this is what was the race, pretty much. Training well specifically before, then mentally prepared for that. Control your pace. Feel well from the beginning. Hydration. Pace yourself. Don't care about the other people, what the other people are doing around you. Spend the minimum time on aid stations. Pace yourself. Um, and finishing the race in your pace, which ended up being great for me. I didn't even see where the other 50 people that drop off went because they were so far ahead of me. But at the end of the day, did that help? Didn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I probably pass maybe six, eight people, maybe through the whole race. The other ones I didn't see; they just disappear in the aid stations.
Hmm.
you know,
Was it, was it hot? Was it like a hot climate? Was it dry, wet?
no, was 60 something at night, was the 54, something like that, which was great,
Yeah.
really great, and was an advantage compared to the races previous years where uh, where it was extremely cold and probably why more people drop off. They couldn't take especially on the high altitude. I mean, it didn't really have like a high altitude. Was just like a great elevation there.
So it was like the perfect race. Wasn't too cold,
No,
wasn't too
wasn't
hot.
too cold, wasn't too hot. The whole time I could keep my body, I mean, really well. And another thing, okay, the recovery. I mean, next day, of course, I was beat up at night to sleep. My legs was hurting, couldn't sleep well. The next day, I already went for like we went like almost 2 hours walk with your mom, like visiting some sides there. I mean, really
Yeah,
slow, but it was. And then on the next day, I already did like a half an hour run.
I
Like,
saw.
yeah. And I was like, okay, let's go. Then your mom did with me. So like flat, fine. But 5 days after, there was like nothing. I'm
Yeah.
good.
And
Back
that's
to
because of
normal.
your conditioning. It's because you've conditioned yourself. So, like for people that don't know, maybe I'll put some videos up and pictures of the race in this podcast. But we were in Japan and we were doing hill sprints, man. We were doing hill sprints at in Tokyo, and I'm uh, I'm like what? I'm 30, 34. My dad's almost 60, so he's what the 26 years older than me, and he beats me in hill sprints. So just to like conditioning is like
Just conditioning, just training. I'm sure if you train, you're gonna, smoke my ass. But you're also not like an untrained person. I mean, you're fit,
yeah.
but a
Oh no, I am.
different kind of a, yeah.
But
But
it's like to talk about your conditioning. It's like yes, you might not be a professional, but you're definitely like in those top 1%.
yeah, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, ultra running is not about the speed, unless you're, of course, you're like an elite. But for most people, you the conditioning. It's about patience, intelligence, discipline, and respect the distance. Respect the distance, because this is this is what people their biggest sins are. Do not respect the distance, the elevation, and because they feel too good at the beginning, they think that feeling will last to the end. It won't, right? So, and that's why I recovered so well, because I didn't blow up. I managed my power, my heart rate. Uh, was a well executed race. I was extremely happy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So now I decided to raise the bar again. So in July, I have a race in Monte Rosa in Italy. So this one is going to be like a 80, 82, 82 kilometers. And that's a 6,500. Let me do the math here. 6,500. Yeah, that's a 20,000 feet elevation gain. And this is at 9,000 feet
Wow.
altitude.
So then
So
there's
this is a
oxygen.
different animal. This is a different animal because, I mean, you're gonna throw the altitude in the mix.
Yeah.
And that's a, I don't have very good experience with this. I mean, uh, my last experience on doing Latvia was really painful. I DNF on that race because of the elevation.
Yeah.
Um, I, I just got there like 3 days before the race. I couldn't go there to acclimate. But this one here, I'm already planning. I'm going to be there 2 weeks early. So
Right
I
on.
will do the right thing.
Right on.
So it's coming. Another race, it's coming. We'll
That's
talk about that one. Finishing or not finishing. So
yeah.
it's part of the game.
That sounds awesome.
All right. So this is it, guys. I guess, Bruno, you could put them. I have some images from the race, some pictures. I can put in there. I was waiting to actually post on Instagram pictures, official pictures from the race, but uh, they didn't post. I didn't see me there yet. They post some pictures, but I'm not there yet. But I have some videos and some pictures of the race. We can put it in here just to.
Yeah, yeah. You can just send it to me. I'll put it in.
Yeah.
I'll edit it in.
All right.
Um, and yeah, cool. I think today was a good one. Kind of
Yeah,
learned.
no, that was nice. If you guys have any questions, any suggestions, if you're looking for someone to help you train for like an ultra or even a marathon, I mean, you can definitely talk to me here. I'll be glad. Just love making people raise the bar and achieve their goals in the racing field here.
Yeah. Okay,
All
this is a
right.
good one. All right. So, all right. Thanks, guys, for everyone watching. Thanks, Dad, for the conversation. And yeah, we'll pick up next week.
Thank you.